Hello, greetings to everyone everywhere in whatever now you are in, given the expansion of this space connectivity that communication technology grants us for now. I welcome everyone connecting now to this discursive event. This event was pre-recorded. I am in the now of pre-recording this event with our guest of today. And you will be in your now watching in the future. This event will be published during the Cine Plus Perfo International Festival of Performance Art. That's our site. We keep it there for a little. Performance art in audiovisual formats, FIFA. We are in our 5th edition, Festival Internacional de Performance Art y Formatos Audiovisuales. It's an online festival, at times hybrid, when we have the possibility to schedule a physical live event that we also broadcast live at the moment. Cine Plus Perfo takes place every year between the 2nd and the 12th of November. Sometimes we add a day, the 13th, inaugurating with the online publication of our annual exhibition with the selected performance work on video that an international jury of 5 or 6 professionals in the field, sometimes it's 6 because we invite duos, a jury that decides in a converse process of individual and collective decisions that selection for the year. They shape what the edition looks like. So we do send a proposal with, like you're seeing there in the screen, a little bit, that's the Spanish version, a proposal to trigger things. It's not theme, but it's a bit of an instigation, some sort of questions in this year. We wanted to invite or revisit the figure of the artist, the construction of the figure of the artist, the positioning, So in a way, the revisiting the genre of the portrait, the self-portrait, and beyond that, really, which is this idea of inscription, sure, in history. And of course, performance art is very close to all of the, particularly throughout our regions, Latin America, very, very close to the field of the social happening. And it does happen in social contexts of the arts, sometimes with a critical position towards the rest of the art system. This broadcast is part of the daily events that are published during those days of the festival, about 10, 11 days. And it comes to expand a series of, 2 series of conversations that we have. Analytical conversations with artists that those tend to be live conversations, connections, live broadcasts with artists that participated in the prior edition, group conversations, and one-to-one conversations with invited guests. Sometimes they are 2 or 3, in a series called Conversas Contingentes, Contingent Conversations. My name is Graciela Ovejero Postigo, migrant artist between Argentina and US, founder director of this home-based festival, Cine Plus Perfo, and the host of these conversations. So Cine Plus Perfo addresses the confluence and developments between performance art and the audiovisual media as languages, both with a strong experimental tradition connected to the social field, and the imaginary, of course, and production of critical thinking from the centrality of performance art and its particularities. We can show in terms of for instance, the call, our call was kind of always is a bit metaphorical. It just sort of comes that way. It's difficult to approach language, and so metaphorically you can concise things that you don't understand, but somehow something is moving there. So the theme was for that the call, something like digital harvesting, release, and analytics of the artist function. How does a body of working becomes consciousness beyond portrait, self-portrait? So hopefully, by the time you see this broadcast, of course, the selection of works, the annual virtual exhibition will be online from November 2nd, 9 a.m. Argentine time, because that's where we have our base, our physical space called Peras de Olmo Ars Continua. That's a space dedicated to performance art and all of its combinations, and sound improvisations and encounters, exchanges, and residencies with artists dedicated to these forms. Our guest today is the artist, researcher, and theorist, Steven Girard from Quebec, Canada, whom we welcome now warmly as a dear friend. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you, Steve, for accepting our invitation. We are happy for this opportunity to connect with you and learn about your artistic production and latest research, theorizing about your own practice as a fervent observer of the field. And now also you are in the position of being a promoter of performance art in Quebec City. We have entitled this contingent conversation, Theory in Focus, a methodology of performative homage, archive research, and practice-based narrative. Conversation with you, Steven, theorist, performance artist, and now artistic director at Lieu and RiAP in Quebec City. I have a warning. I ask you to secure some time for this, and the warning is just that this converging time to listen and think together. Generally, when we do these conversations, we take time. We take time as space, to kind of host ourselves in the conversation itself and let the contents open up. Opposite to the current, fast cacophony of media. So a way of personal truth, So we do have a sketch plan to follow and questions along as a line on the ground that we propose, departing from concepts stated in your thesis abstract, which you shared with us, with the aim to invite ourselves access to your creative and conceptual landscape. So I will go ahead and read a bit of your short bio version.
Yep.
How do you pronounce your without the vowels
That's
first
kind of
name?
funny, huh? I mean,
Steven.
yeah, I still stick to Steven, but I guess you can like jazz it.
Yeah, jazz it. I like that. Yeah, Steven Girard, born Steven Girard, is an artist, researcher, artistic director at Le Lieu, Centre en Art Actuel, in RiAP, in Quebec City, Canada, and an interdisciplinary theorist in performance art. He has presented his performances in more than a dozen countries, taking part in biennials and international events. As a theorist, he also regularly publishes essays in Inter, BsAs-AR, and other periodicals. Currently a doctoral candidate at Université Laval in visual arts, law, and social sciences. His research focuses on the historicization of performance art, archive fever, the anarchive, offensive opacity. I want to know all about that. Offensive opacity, provocative generosity, as well as on the notions of homage, and hunting. Wow, super attractive.
It's kind of a lot to unpack, huh?
Yeah, nice. So we of course have your statement, but we will come back to that. We will come back to that in a bit to help us get more in the grain of all this thinking and writing that you have been doing. But now let's talk or introduce the place where you work, Le Lieu. Center of exchanges or encounter in performance art. Le Lieu, the place. Here, there we have the site to see a bit and introduce our audience. Exists since 1982, and RiAP, the Encounter Festival of Performance Art, exists since 2 years after 1984. So people can browse the site, and it has a English, of course, French and English version. Um, and so I'll read just something very quickly, and then I want to hear about your own description of Le
hmm
Lieu according to your memories and stuff. So established in 1982, Le Lieu presents works by artists from all corners of the globe who explore action art, installation, exhibition modes, and maneuver. That's a French word, very important, among other contemporary art forms. The Lieu is composed of a distribution center, exhibition center, information center, and it's a publishing venue as well. Disciplines covered film and video, interdisciplinary, media and digital arts, performance and live arts, publications and publishing, sound art and music, visual arts. And it's part of ARCs, the network of nonprofit organizations governed the majority by artists that was created in the late 60s in Canada, and it's an amazing thing. There is no other country, I think,
Hmm.
that has that so important for artists, and the arts have really flourished, of course, when they are in the hands organizations, nonprofit with organizations with governmental help funding are in the hands of artists and researchers very close to the artists' lives. So that network of artist-run centers, ARCs, I think in some studies of 2011, 2012, is accounted for 190 centers in nearly 60 localities across the country. And those spaces can be different kinds, like galleries, off-site spaces, artist studios, specialized production facilities, that they give service with technologies to artists, and many things, collectives, archives, publishers, magazines, bookstores, and festivals. So it's really an amazing structure, cultural structure there between the ground and the top, the government. Let's hear from you now then, about your own description of Le Lieu,
hmm
as your memories of young artists, whatever first, and your own, you know, today's position as a recently appointed, I don't know exactly how recent, but I think it's recent, young director.
hmm
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. First thing first, thanks a lot for this opportunity, Graciela. It's really amazing to be here. So yeah, I'm artistic director at Lieu since I'm starting. I think I'm starting my third years, so it's quite
Okay.
recent in my life, and also in the life of the Artisan Center. As you said, the Artisan Center was established in 1982. It was developed by a collective called Lieu, so it might uh, that's kind of the name of the place, Le Lieu, and Inter is the Inter magazine that we also publish and produce. Um, I'm only in charge of Le Lieu and the Biennale, the RiAP, but and also like recently I've been in charge of the all the archive that
Mm,
we've been gathering since all those years. But I would say that it is a artisan center, but also like a place for a living. There's a lot of we have our own building, and we have a lot of people's just passing by, just like if they need to I don't know, to do some research in a certain book or in a magazine or just like having a place to stay for like a couple of hours. We're kind of really flexible and community based, I might say. And it is one of the reason how I got involved into this. I was
mm,
involved pretty much around uh, 2012, something like that. Maybe like a bit more than a bit less than 15 years. But yeah, I was always there reading books, having some good time on a couch and then just like chilling, or like sometimes like performance artists showed up and I have a talk with them. So it's kind of a like a center, a living center where like a lot of performance artists gather around. And something really specific to Quebec City is like many years ago, the artists, the art council wanted us like all the other artists run center in Quebec City wanted us to have more clear specificity. So that's how we were already doing a lot of performance and action art things since many years, but we kind of being forced at that time to being more and more involved into performance art,
mm,
and it kind of make us the only autism center only dedicated to performance art
mm,
in Quebec City, but also pretty much in Canada. We don't have a lot of twins, I might
mm.
say. There's we do have Fado in Toronto. There's
Yeah,
some of them, but like Lieu is quite maybe a rare space for performance art.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah.
particularly since you do have the building, you have the actual
Mhm.
space, and that is an amazing thing. And you have hours, that daily hours, where the space is open, and this little sort of counter cafe with couches, like you said, and
Yeah.
it's very, community and kind of family sort of welcoming, and so that's really amazing. I wish I could do something similar in at BsAs in Buenos Aires. We are the only space that I know entirely dedicated to the field, and that expands a bit into other different forms of actions. Like we do have this program on sound called Sonoraje, for sound improvisations, and the mixings with projection narratives,
Hmm.
live projection narratives and stuff. That's amazing. I have a curator that does that. Julio Lamilla, he's an artist. We have also a conversation with Julio that it's in this series, contingent conversations of this year. In Spanish, some are in Spanish, some are in English, but yeah, it's you need good funding to be able to, yeah, to open. And in our case, it's really is my house,
Hmm.
and so it depends of all the organicity of the actual life, our actual lives. And so, yeah, the documentation center is really amazing. I think Le Lieu is yeah, it's a historical sort of iconic organization for performance art. You said that in recent years, you had to actually say, okay, we are about this. But
Hmm.
of course, this performance art connects so easily, in the practices with installation, the use of video, etc., sound, art, and all those things. So it kind of doing the same thing that was doing from the beginning,
Yeah,
but
it's just
just
how we present things at the end.
exactly, with all the freedom inside. And one thing that it's very interesting, perhaps, um, Flori there in moving the site can find the place where, if you look in the menu, I think there is a place where there is a set of values that are,
Hmm.
um, listed there. It's very interesting. I will just like read some of the bullet. Of course, exchange.
Hmm.
The collaborativeness, and you just mentioned. Is the daily experience. Networks of core. That's something that also has this organic source, but it gets beyond, and,
Hmm.
that's what makes it international as well. But this desire and will, and passion to interconnect. The founders of the Lieu and artists active in the 60s, 70s. Well, of course, we have more of the historical resonance from the turn of the 20th century, of course, with Dada and etc. Uh, Talking about the Western art history, right? Which we dialogue with practically in our territories, that we are mixed peoples, and
Hmm.
our original land traditions have been destroyed and diminished, continue to be diminished. We look at that. We look at it. We are part of all this. We are a strange mixture, particularly Latin America.
Hmm.
So the network, there was always this necessity to go beyond and to connect internationally. So that's for the networks. And then, kindness. I love that. It's very important to establish that in the world of today, that everything is so violent. Communication, it's just violence has taken over. It seems like everywhere. In terms of what is being broadcast, what comes to us in our cell phones and stuff. We don't open TVs anymore, but it's all in the pocket, no? Ensure, this is about kindness, ensure environment free of tolerations, inappropriate behavior and harassment. Very important. Uh, Strengthen the well-being of the corporation's employees in order to promote permanent climate of safety, of course, respect, and then including the fair and adequate remuneration according to standards for artists and whoever works for the organization. Risk. Can you talk about the risk aspect
That's
as
kind
a
of funny,
value?
huh? Yeah, it's kind of funny, right after talking about like respect, safe zone, and talking about risk. It's mainly we are dedicated to performance art, and then if there's no risk taking, it might not happen to or turn out to be a performance that we're looking at. So we're always facilitating risk taking. Um, for the artist, but also we kind of try to maneuver to um, with the audience and also the artist, how we can some sort of develop a courage zone and not like a safe zone, just a place that we all know that risk can turns out to be bad or good, but uh, more like a statement of we're going to talk. We might talk about something difficult, but we're not here to give answer. We're here to all us together live something and maybe just go beyond our like ideas that we had
Yeah,
already. It's just like exploring risk in
yeah,
a different angle.
right, right. To generate
Hmm.
uh, of course, question and opportunities also, opportunities to treat those things that may feel awkward,
Yeah.
and but they are absolutely part of our human experience. So, of course, that is directly connected with the creative freedom,
Hmm.
dissemination. That's addresses probably the whole publication part. And what else do you do? I mean, you do a lot for regional, local artists, and of course, artists in the. And I think that's probably part of the contract that you have with the public funding
Yeah, we're founding by
promoted.
Diffusion. Yeah, yeah. So, but also we do have a YouTube channel with all our videos. So not all since like the very beginning,
Yeah,
but I think we have more than 20 something years of documentation. So you can also, it's kind of a way to have access to this archive. Yeah.
right. That's wonderful. And the videos are open
Yep.
YouTube with the right.
All
Uh,
free, no paywall.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Uh, yeah, that's fantastic. And La RiAP, the International Encounter of Performance Art. Yeah, started like just 2 years after the official
Yeah,
starting.
it was not named like that. Just like for some sort of intellectual rigor, but it was not named like that. I think it was in 88, something like that, that it turns out to be the RiAP. But it was like the same idea behind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, right. Okay. Yeah, prior to that, of course, the what action art happenings,
Hmm.
performance art. In fact, um, we will see later on there is this publication, early publication from 1998. We will see it later. Um, from from the space about performance arts is like 20 years back to 98, so something like 1958, something like
Y-
that. So it's
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
yeah.
78 to 98, I think.
Okay,
It's
78
something
to
like
90.
that.
Yeah, right, right. Okay, wonderful. So, talking about your artist statement as a precursor of the subject of the conversation, focus theory in focus.
Hmm.
Uh, uh, okay, so of course, you mentioned currently a doctoral candidate at the Université Laval. Focuses your investigation focuses on we have mentioned the historicization of performance art,
Hmm.
archive fever, the anarchive, offensive opacity, which is provocative generosity, homage and hunting.
Yeah.
to important bullet words and concepts in your research. Um, in the statement, this is his performances explore the necessity of humbly bringing back into the present through enacted translations, practices of exchange, citation, and transmission, an oral dictionary embodied in flesh. His practice is rooted in long speculative processes of necromancy, hunting, possession, uh, nourished by archival and field research, in which you, it's interesting that we write as artist statements as in the third person, but
Yeah.
it's us doing it, yeah. But it's interesting that circular going out and we become our own ghosts, in which he celebrates the forms, gestures, and artists that have shaken him and that compose the discipline. When did you bring up this statement? When did this statement get this shape like that, you know?
hmm it's maybe less than 10 years, but it kind of always been into me more or less.
Of course.
It was not exactly a state as it, but I've been doing this. I mean, I've always approached performance art in
Yeah,
that sense, more or less, more a collective based approach of performance through like collecting fragment from previous performance or like sharing ideas between like artists and so it's kind of I often think about myself as a individual artist who doesn't do individualistic or practice. It always feels like if I haven't saw performance before, I didn't know what to do. And so yeah, it's and for a fact you know this because in when I was in Paras del Ormo, I've done something that afterward I kind of recognized that it was some sort of a quote from another artist that I love and I really appreciate their practice. So yeah, it's always been like particular to go back and forth on what you have done like in the past and now turns out to be really similar or almost like a translation from other fragment from other performance. So the feeling of being like in a collective memories of the discipline, it's where I'm tapping in. Yeah.
wonderful. Okay, let's watch a video now.
I had my voyal at that time.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so 2015, you wanted to burn the Lieu?
Yeah. That's really ironical that now I'm the artistic director there, more or less 7 years after. But it's more about like a statement or like a
Yes.
critiques about the ephemeral work being uh like documented into like videos and institution as the year becomes. So yeah.
Okay. Do you want to say, expand a little bit about that, the critique documentation or the questions around documentation of
hmm
ephemeral work?
Uh, I, it's really interesting that we just watch this videos because now that I have like more or less more knowledge about archival documentation and the history of performance, I'm looking at it and I'm just seeing so many kind of quote or just like gesture that remembers me a lot of Esther Ferrer, even Boris Neslony, Alastair
Totally.
MacLennan. There's a lot of you can feel that there's a lot of um, inspiration from different performance artists, and even I was using object from the basement of Le Lieu where all those objects have been previously used in performance. So I bring back ghosts from the past, and they were in the space with me. Uh, I don't I can't recall correctly if at that time I was exactly thinking in that lens, but now that I'm looking back at it, it feels like more an appropriate archival process to try to bring back in the present through like a translation or like any like kind of rememorial process of redoing or like bringing back those those objects that being used in previous performance. So for me, it started to become more and more a way of archiving performance but still being rooted in the ephemeral aspect of performance, not giving too much authority of videos and photos. Just stick with the body as a way to archival the discipline and like the performance. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, so certainly, you you had all that asset there of memory, the objects that have been archived from prior performances, many years. So, and certainly those energies there in the objects and the notions that you may have researched at the time. I don't know, because you're young, you haven't seen those performances, but and I don't know if you were already an archive diving diver, archive diver. So or was it something more like sort of felt in the body and intuitive that you are in that place,
hmm
full of those energies, and you just and of course your audience has all those memories or actualizes, make current all those memories by going to the performances events. And so it's almost like yeah, kind of there perhaps, if you want to talk a bit about the
Uh-huh.
possession, or like the sort of perhaps like mediumnic, but not exactly.
hmm
Possession is closer to are not so unique, not so like going so far as medium activity. But let's hear about that a little bit more. Were,
Uh,
were, were
it's
you were you archive diver at that time?
I I don't know exactly if I was a archival diver, but at that time, but I knew for a fact that I was more maybe affected by the action of others.
Mm,
And that's maybe why I can talk about more about possession. Possession. It's a
yeah,
kind of a difficult word for me to say in English, but because we do have the same word in
in
French.
French.
Yeah.
Say
Uh,
it. Say it in French.
possession.
Possession.
Exactly. Yeah. Because it's really interesting how when we talk about homage or archive, it often devalue the affective, the emotion aspect of it. And possession is more
Yeah.
related to body or like body to non-body or absence. So it's more like in relation to this kind of energy that you're talking about. And also for me as a white man who's been like grown up in Catholicism, that's a way to talk about my own cultural history without like tapping into like indigenous or like original First Nation things. It's just like it makes more sense for me to tap into my own cultural history. So I've been searching around this possession and necromancy things, and I feel I kind of felt like I was trying to give voice to the past. So give
Mm.
voice to ghosts and all this kind of things, metaphoric things, kind of give more kind of a broader perspective in how I approach performance by looking at the past. But like the past is the thing that it's in front of you. You can look at it. The future is in your back. You don't know where you're going. And this code came from uh, um, a paper that Alastair MacLennan, I think it was one of the first paper he wrote. It was called
Mm.
Walking Backward to the Future. And like this idea of just like going backward to the future kind of remembers me on how we think about the past and the future in a more like in a common sense. So yeah, so s- sorry, I kind of uh,
Excellent.
digress,
Yeah.
but yeah,
No, no.
the idea of possession is more like to bring back more emotion and affect of but I would say at that time I might have been more like into this without naming it, but because I've started to do performance through workshops um between France. And at that time, I was really young. I was 17, and I didn't know exactly what was performance. It was just action for us. And we
Mm.
started to
Mm.
organize that kind of, we used performance, but it was almost like freak show things, weirdo stuff happening. And we were like doing every 2 weeks, we were doing self organized workshop. And we been organized like on 2 years when I was at the CEGEP at that time, we organized like four performance night. And I don't know, it was such an amazing moment where like to discover this discipline through action and not through theory and
Mm.
to kind of to feel like there's a some sort of universal grammar. There's kind of a like the first step you're doing in performance is pretty much the same for everyone, and it's just like all the how you're using your body is kind of more or less the same for everyone, but it kind of expand and goes more into a specific language. And like being like witnessing this, because we were like a bunch of people, almost like ten performance artists, like doing their first step all together, was really, really a stepping stone in my practice. And I've always approached performance like this. It's just like we are bodies of archive and we collect the fragment of the history through witnessing the performance from others. So,
That nice to hear. Nice to hear. So I'm enjoying this so much. Thank you. Um, the big difference we are entering into. So you're young, but you have been affected directly by performance. In the presence of other performance artists and live works, uh, not something discovered in the books. And
mhm,
perhaps that is, uh, your connection between the past reality of the performance art realm, and action art realm, 70s, 80s, and 90s. Uh, that connection is what makes you today, maybe the one that was chosen. How was that process of you becoming the director of Le Lieu?
it was kind of a quick one since they been like I mean Le Lieu organized an open call, a proper like open call for a candidate, and I I think
You
like
applied.
yeah, I've applied, but I was also part of the programming committee since like a bit less than 1 years, because there was like a lot of shift in this moment where like
Mm,
uh there was a lot of reorganization around like Le Lieu and Inter, and so a lot of things happened during the pandemic and after. So they
mm,
needed to have like a second artistic director. And
mm,
I've proposed my myself to be an artistic director, but the way I've proposed it was to consider myself a heritage keeper and keep going with the
mm.
same
Right,
approach of Le Lieu. I don't want to like, for sure I'm gonna bring my own into this, but it's just like I don't want to make it something else. It's
right.
just I truly feel that it was so important for my own practice that I
Yeah.
want to give uh the opportunity to others to also discover this place and grow through this artisan center as I've grown. So
Yeah, right. Fantastic. And so a committee conformed by who? How many
uh,
decided to take on your proposal?
at the end it was I think it was like the board, the board there
The
who
board.
was
Hmm.
yeah. I don't know exactly. I've never asked, so
Oh. You got the news and said, go to work.
yeah, yeah. Sign there and
Yeah. Yeah. Who was the prior director?
uh
Martin?
Richard Martel, yeah.
Richard.
Yeah.
And he is part of the founders or
Yeah.
principal founder. How is that?
In fact, at the very beginning, it was a collective, but
Yes.
at that time, Artisan Center was kind of I think they were not like established as Artisan Center. There was nothing like Artisan Center. It was only like
Mm,
Art Collective,
right.
and the Art Collective was called Inter le Lieu. And
Yeah.
they had a flat uptown, and they were like doing magazine intervention. So it was not even called Inter magazine, and they were doing more like action art. it was maybe, I don't know, at that time, like the vocab around like those kind of behavior activities was not totally established.
Yeah, it was very open and
Exactly.
intermixed.
Exactly. So there were a lot of photograph. There was even like one of my good friends who's called Alain Martin Richard, who was a
Hmm.
linguistic and a German teacher. There was Richard Martel, who might have been like one of the member of the collective who's more well known, and a bunch of different other artists. Also, like women, men. It started with like a specific group, but it kind of expanded and deflate until 1998. In 1998, there was no more collective. They kind of stopped the collective things. And that's on the same years that we've been landlord. We
Mm.
had like this building. So we I don't know, just like from a look back at the past, it kind of feels more like a way to be more established and like institutionalized but
Hmm.
when you go inside, you're kind of, well, it's not like a proper institute, but anyway, we're kind of in between, you know. So yeah, the Le Lieu was a really important force of performance at that
Yeah.
time. Um, and they've been touring around the world, and it was way less administrative at the time. So maybe like the it was truly a different angle about like how they organize, how they select people, and so on. Yeah, yeah. But also,
Yeah.
it's really interesting how performance art being developed up there because it was Hélène Doyon, who's another really amazing performance artist. She might not even say performance artist. She might say
Oh,
like
really?
maneuver
Maneuver.
uh, artist, but she said on a interview on the radio that
Mm.
performance art developed and flourished so well in Quebec province because there was
Mm.
no market to support us, and there was no any place to to receive their practice. So
Mm.
that's why at that time there was Obscure, who was another artist from Center, who's no more a thing, but they were also receiving some performance activities. There was also La Chambre Blanche at that time.
Yeah. Oh,
It's still something, but like the
yeah.
very first performance festival
Mm.
occurred by a co-organization between uh, Inter Le Lieu Collective and La Chambre
Mm.
Blanche. I think if
Oh.
I recall correctly, it was in 1980, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's just there was a lot of performance activities happening, uh, mainly because the roots of performance was so arte povera, and so you just need to work with your own body and create a situation. So like that's how it started to be um, more and more a thing to do as an
Mm.
artist. So
Yeah. 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 Oh, right. Yeah. So, yeah, so very well said by Ellen. Not having nearby the anxieties and flashes of the grips of the art market
mhm.
um, gives a lot of self-empowerment and freedom. Uh, Freedom which we all preserve, really. I think the people we are committed to this practice, that sort of core experience of the, moments of the the experimental moments um, of earlier decades. It's very important. And so, uh, yeah, so La Chambre Blanche was there first in a way, also as a
Yeah,
space.
if I recall correctly, I think it was the first artisan center in Quebec
Mm,
City. It
oh,
was previewed in Lieu for sure, but
yeah,
I don't know for other performance, not performance, but artisan
yeah,
center space.
centers, yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Um, the work we just watched, the video, is like a trilogy. We watched the first phase, which was a performance. This was scheduled within a certain time. You tell us
Hmm.
about that. Then the other two phases, the middle phase, the second phase, um, uh, makes reference to a collection of writings about art destruction and destruction in art,
Yeah.
something like that. A collection of writings that are from magazine 75 of winter 2000, year
Hmm.
2000. And I don't know how that was actualized there in the space, or if there were activities around those texts, but certainly it's one of your references there.
Hmm.
To question, as you said, documentation, blah blah, and you use the documentation, both printed and the objects, the remaining objects of performances, to create your installation and create the first performance. And then the third phase was a final performance. The first one was called uh,
Rasum tabula.
yeah, tabula rasa. Yeah, we
Yeah.
in Spanish we say it in the Italian way, tabula rasa. Yeah, so in Latin, rasum tabula,
Yeah.
yeah, rasum tabula. And the third performance was called what? The third phase. You
I don't have it on my
Yeah,
side. You might be better for this.
right, right,
It's
right.
kind of old
Oh,
piece.
oh, the empty set call.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, the
Unequal. Oh, okay,
symbol,
yeah,
the
like this.
symbol of. Uh, Right, right, that.
Yeah.
So what was the second phase, the relationship to all of those articles, and, a little bit in the development of what the third phase was with the third performance?
The second phase was it happened in the moment where Quebec City was destroying one public sculpture, and there was
Oh,
kind of a lot of things happening around, and I was really interested into Diaz Destruction and Art Symposium, who was established
mm,
by Merzgel, and there was a lot of performance artists that being invited to this. It was in 1960 something. I can't recall
mm,
correctly. 67, if I recall correctly. Anyway, it was in the UK, and they were like thinking about how to never step a toe in the art market and how
mm,
to stay political, and it was like a really amazing moment where it kind of gave some roots to performance art in a
mm,
way to think about how like political is to be ephemeral, and there's not a lot of documentation about this
mm,
destruction and art symposium. And after that, Merzgel started to do some art strike, and I was really inspired by this idea. So I've asked some friends and a theorician to write some uh, some performance review based
Mm.
on a score that I would never enact. And
Mm.
I was like printing uh, those uh,
Mm.
those review, and I was putting them into this inter magazine that was called Destruction in Art Symposium, something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So like if you go back to the Lieu and you search in some boxes, you might find some like sheets where it's written like a review on a performance that never happened, and
Mm.
those was like some infiltration that I've done. Um, and in the same time, I started to walk from Le Lieu till the public sculpture that would have been
Uh-huh.
soon been moved, not destroyed finally. But I was walking there with uh like a live stream of just my feet because I was walking bare feet, and I was walking there
Mm.
from Le Lieu to this sculpture, and you could only see me walk, like my feet walk on the ground, and it was the only document that you could see about my walk performance that I've done. So it was like this this action was the second one.
Okay.
More like a
Okay.
conceptual one, I might say.
Yeah, very much. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, very interesting. And what was that public sculpture about that
It
it was
was
being called to be destroyed or moved? What was it?
oh yeah, it's in the old part of Quebec City where it's really tourism based, and there's a lot of ferries going there, a lot of both, and they needed to have more space, so they kind of needed to move like this sculpture away for I guess now I'm pretty sure like it's all a bunch of Airbnb there, but at that time
Ah,
there was no Airbnb side. Yeah. So like they were just like moving public sculpture for this. Um
oh,
but something kind of interesting. It's I was not like saying that I like this culture or not. It's just like the
right,
place of culture and art in our society. So yeah.
right,
And
right.
also like Diaz was kind of tapping into this tension already. Like Destruction in Art Symposium was questioning the relation between society, politics, and capitalism in art. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And in this case, it was coming from the public
Hmm.
arena. Yeah, right. The decision to that they need a space for privatization
Yeah, exactly.
to
Yeah.
sell out. Wow, wow. So it really did not matter. It was not, it didn't even matter what the sculpture was about and
Yep.
the historicity of that piece being there or whatever. They just needed a space.
Yeah, yeah. And
Right.
yeah, exactly. And for me also, it was not uh like I'm I'm way much more into performance than public culture. So
Yeah,
so like I didn't really care about
right,
what
right.
was this history of this culture. It's just like
It was
that's
the
kind of a
politics around it and the
ex
moment.
exactly. Yeah.
Right. Great, great. And so your reference to all those articles, it's another component of this, apart from that invisible sort of walk or walk that, the documentation is just, your feet barefoot going, bare feet going to from that place to the other place. Um, yeah, it's this conceptual stitch,
Exactly.
back to the year 2000. Um, yeah, nice, nice. Many inner spaces there. And the third phase was the empty set called
Hmm.
the number that is the impossible number. I've used that sign also in one solo exhibition I did in 2009 in Buenos Aires.
Oh, that's true. I saw that. Yeah.
Oh, you did? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Called I said something when it was a series of visual work constructed and the photo performances that I did in one of the things about the sinuses I am an
Hmm.
impossible number, or yeah, I think that is called the impossible number, a number that is impossible. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The zero crossed. So
Exactly.
there's emptiness. So tell me a little bit about that, the empty set.
Yeah. This performance might have been more like a traditional way of approaching performance, like the first one. But I was also doing action that I saw from Inter magazine, and also that was using that I was using archives and leaks from the basement. Uh, like for an example, I was using the log of was it Jerzy Beres? Yeah, Jerzy Beres, a Polish artist who was
Mm-hmm.
in the 80s was doing a performance in Lieu, and he was using a log where it was kind of
Mm.
rotten in the basement, and it's just like
Mm.
pieces of the log was kind of not properly conserved. So it was just like it was supposed to be written something on the skin of the tree. I don't know
Uh-huh.
how to call it,
Right,
uh, but
right.
but the skins kind of fall
Started
apart.
falling apart.
So you could only read a part of the
Mm.
sentence. So I was using this as a podium for a lot of my action
Mm.
in the performance, but also in the installation there was the diagram of
Yes,
Boris,
yes, yes.
and behind this there was a big tag, some sort of graffiti of the impossible number symbol.
Oh, oh,
So
wonderful. Who did
when
it?
you
You know?
I've did it previously,
Oh,
so
you did it. You did it.
and when you remove the diagram, it was my last
In
action.
the
I was
back,
uh
you did that.
on the wall. So like
Oh,
the
okay.
diagram was pinned on the wall, and
Yes.
the wall had previously been tagged with the
Impossible
impossible
number.
number. And when you remove it,
You
it
see,
was
it was
just like
revealed.
exactly, and it was exactly the same form because the
Yeah, the
diagram of
circle.
Boris is
It's
a
a circle.
circle, but it's a circle now with a cross. And like
Yes.
finishing my performance with that, it was really it kind of tapped till it kind of goes back again into faut-il brûler le lieu? Do we need to burn it down, this artisan center? So like erasing some sort of all the big theory of Boris and going back to the impossible number. Like that's how I finished my third action, and also like the series of those three
Yeah,
action. Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah, yeah. Um, Wonderful. Okay. So we can move on, y- you know, to grab back some of the bullet ideas, words that in your abstract. But first, let me see. There is always a question that we ask, and everybody that interviews a performance artist, sometimes it's it's one of those things that we always ask. When, where, what, and by who was your first encounter with performance art? The one you saw first that you remember?
Mhm.